Elon gets ready to Twitter the Department of Education. By that, I mean slash it down just like he did Twitter. Remember that Elon Musk cut 80% of the workforce at Twitter. They said, oh my gosh, who is going to make the servers run and who's going to do all these things? And then sure enough, it turned out they didn't need all those people. Twitter, now X, works better than it ever did before. And Elon looks like the managerial and leadership genius that he is. Well, after a lot of important executive orders coming down from Donald Trump very quickly in these first few weeks of Trump 2.0, Elon Musk has decided to get together with Doge, where he has a bunch of 20-something-year-old tech geniuses sitting around figuring out what exactly they can do to make the government function as a much more efficient entity. Dismantling the education department, in large part, not entirely, is high on the list. Now, here's what they're discussing. They are looking at an executive order that would, according to the Wall Street Journal, shut down all functions of the agency that aren't written explicitly into statute or move certain functions to other departments, according to people familiar with the matter. The order would call for developing a legislative proposal to abolish the department. Trump advisors are debating the specifics of the order and the timing. Okay, so is it going to happen? I think something's going to happen here. And let's remember that they can't just make the whole thing go away. They need Congress to act for that to happen. I think Congress should do that, but Congress won't, because these are all slush funds. These agencies, you have to understand, a lot of people get money from them. A lot of people are feeding themselves at the trough of the taxpayer. And so they don't want this to go away. They won't be that vocal about their situation, but the moment you start to talk about real cuts or efficiencies, they decide that they'll use all the political might they have to try to shut you down from shutting them down. And that certainly would happen with the Department of Education. Remember, this was founded, Department of Education, DOE, founded, I guess there's also Department of Energy, right? Got two DOEs. Got a better acronym than that. The Department of Education hasn't been around that long, about 50 years. And it comes from the Jimmy Carter administration that was told by teachers' unions, or by a very large teachers' union, hey, we need a federal agency to oversee education. Horrible idea. Horrible idea. The federal government should have no role in this whatsoever. The federal government at least should be far smaller and more specific in what it's going to do in the realm of education. As we know, this has been a massive indoctrination factory for a very long time. Yes, for the bureaucrats who are there, but the bureaucrats at the Department of Education use the money and influence that they have and the regulatory ability. Remember, they can make determinations about, what complies with civil rights, and Biden passed these like special protections on sex discrimination that we're talking about now. People that are like gender identified as something else. And there are things that this agency department has been doing that clearly are meant to be strengthening the left and are partisan. And that crap has just got to stop. It is enough. People don't want to be subjected, at least some of us don't want to be subjected to this madness anymore. And you look at what they've been up to, what they've really been doing, and just like so many other things with the federal government, they don't want you to know what they're doing. When you find out, they lie about it, or they say they're not doing it. And then the moment you want to cut their budget, it's the most important money that's ever been spent by the taxpayer, or on behalf of the taxpayer. So this is what we are up against, but they're also up against Elon Musk. They're up against a whole level of profound intellectual ability with Elon and his Doge team now. They're apparently working like 100 hours a week, and they're sleeping in the office, and all they're doing is looking. They have Treasury Department payment access now. They can see where all the Treasury Department payments are going, which is remarkable. So they're going to be able to do some pretty incredible things. And now let's talk about USAID. United States Agency for International Development, which is also getting twittered by Elon. We will dive into that here in just a second. You know, the tariffs announced last weekend by President Trump and the reaction by leaders in Canada, Mexico, and China have had quite an effect on our economy in a short period of time. Looks like Trump is going to get the upper hand here, but there's still a lot of instability out there. And for Trump to fix things, there's going to be some rough seas ahead. Now is the time to invest a portion of your savings in gold. I trust Birch Gold, same company releasing the all-new Ultimate Guide for Gold in the Trump era with a foreword by Donald Trump Jr. To get your free copy, along with Birch Gold's free information kit on gold, text my name, Buck, to the number 989898 or go online to birchgold.com/Buck. While our nation and others still find solutions to what's going to happen with, well, not only international trade, but in our case, the debt, inflation, this may still be, diversifying into gold, a great way to maintain the value of your savings and 401k accounts. Text Buck to 989898 or go online to birchgold.com/Buck. Text my name, Buck, to 989898 or go online, birchgold.com/Buck. Now, what has been going on over at the USAID? This is amazing. This is, I got to tell you, Marco Rubio is now the acting administrator for this, and they've basically shut down the D.C. headquarters. I love this quote on CNN from a USAID official. It is the apocalypse. Oh, man, it is fantastic. The apocalypse at USAID. Probably good for the rest of us. Trump, Musk, and others are looking at this, and they're realizing that this place has just, again, it's a giant slush fund. No one knows. No one in American life knows where this money is going and how it's being spent. So instead, what we have is a whole bunch of smoke and mirrors about how, it's just about, funding like important critical health initiatives abroad. And first of all, doesn't the UN do that? Doesn't isn't the WHO running programs? I mean, think of all the international NGOs that are doing this. USAID has to do it. And also, here's a question that's worth asking. Are we supposed to fund the medical treatments of the entire impoverished third world? Is that so? Your tax dollars are supposed to go to that? Is that really where we are? They can say, but it's not that much of the budget. Well, if it's not that much, why can't someone else do it? Ask the EU or Saudi Arabia or somebody to write the checks. Well, why are we doing this? These are the questions that we should be asking now. I love this. Trump said it's been about USAID, quote, "It's been run by a bunch of radical lunatics and we're getting them out and then we'll make a decision on its future." So they've shut down the headquarters. I mean, this is fascinating stuff. I got to say, I love it. Also, Elon Musk's team has installed beds in the Office of Personnel Management, OPM. And he says Doge is working 120 hours a week to cut costs as he brings, quote, hardcore on their on the cost cutting. And this is amazing. This is amazing. And sure enough, we are seeing the results of this already. And this is just the beginning. Just wait until people find out more about how their tax dollars have been spent and how corrupt this whole system is and what a mess it is and what an outrage the whole thing is, honestly. And the fact that we have been led to believe that this will just be, this is just the way it has to be, that this can't be changed, this has to stay as is absurd. And, they think that they can tell you no. This is really part of it. It's bringing USAID to heel. It's showing these federal agencies and federal government employees that they actually work for the elected representatives of the people, and specifically in the executive branch, they work for the elected president of the United States. So there were security officials at USAID were put on leave for refusing to allow Doge access to their systems. What do they think this is? I mean, this is like the scene from Ghostbusters. Remember that? I'm Walter Peck. Shut this down. Shut this all down. Where the EPA comes in Except in this case, Walter Peck is the good guy, and the bad guy are the Ghostbusters saying, you can't do that. It's like, well, actually, Doge can.
He says they have a warrant.
Excuse me, this is private property.
Shut this off. Shut these all off.
I'm warning you, turning off these machines would be extremely hazardous.
I'll tell you what's hazardous. You're facing federal prosecution for at least a half a dozen environmental violations. Now, either you shut off these beams or we shut them off for you.
If you haven't seen Ghostbusters, well, all of you have seen Ghostbusters. It's a great movie. The first one, the rest of them are trash. So yes, Doge personnel were able to access the headquarters eventually and able to get in there. But isn't this so funny? These government employees are like, you can't do that. Yeah, they can actually. They are supposed to be able to do this. They do not have to ask permission from some, GS-14 bureaucrat or something to go in there. They have the approval and the directive of the President of the United States. So, yeah, there's a lot going on here. There's cost cutting and there's restructuring, but there's also a reminder that is being given, a very stark reminder that is being given to the federal bureaucracy that you are not an unelected branch of government that just can stay in its own universe and do whatever it wants. You have to come to heel. Donald Trump is the president. This is the way it's going to be. And so I think this is the beginning of a renaissance in how government functions, because there'll be accountability. There'll be a sense of purpose for those, because no one's saying he's going to abolish all of the government. This isn't some, anarchist, lunatic fever dream of we have no government. Of course not. There's going to be people who work, lots of people who work for the federal government. Probably will be far too many, even when Elon's done. But at least we are showing that there can be something done, and that the Leviathan doesn't necessarily just grow with each and every passing year. So I think that is really powerful for us to see, and I love what Elon's doing. Elon is going hardcore on the federal government, and the federal government deserves it. Hey, if you're a firearm owner, you got to know about Bear Creek Arsenal. They make everything in America, starting with just raw metal and finishing each rifle, pistol, and blade. They have awesome knives now, by the way. They're making these custom knives in-house. I've seen them. I got to, handle them, check them out at SHOT Show. Incredible. They got a tomahawk that's really cool. Go check out their fixed blades and their folding blades. You're really going to be amazed what Bear Creek Arsenal is turning out these days. I've got a few Bear Creek Arsenal firearms, and they're fantastic. I've been to the factory, met the owners, know the people behind this company. They're patriots. They're great people. The prices also on these guns, they're just better than the other prices on gun makers out there. And they're bringing the savings right to you. And the quality's fantastic. Go to bearcreekarsenal.com/buck. That's bearcreekarsenal.com/buck. Take 10% off your order with my first name, Buck, as your coupon code. bearcreekarsenal.com/buck. Use coupon code BUCK for 10% off. Thanks for hanging. Shields high.